Hello students, welcome to the session. I am Mr. Ramesh Mota, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering. Today's session is on System of Water Distribution. The outcome of this session. At the end of this session, we will be in a position to understand the various aspects related to water distribution systems used. So let's start learning. Now, water distribution systems are generally designed to adequately satisfy the water requirement for a combination of domestic, commercial, industrial and firefighting purpose. In previous session, we have seen that the total water demand for a certain city is a combination of the water required for various purposes, which includes the water required for domestic purpose, water required for commercial purpose, along with water required for industrial purpose. While the firefighting purpose is a one specific purpose where one need to store and supply the water in case of firefighting purpose. The water distribution systems are designed to satisfy the requirement of all these things simultaneously. The distribution system consists of a network of pipes with necessary appurtenances for transporting water from the purification plant to the consumer's tap. The performance of any distribution system can be judged on the basis of the pressure available in the system for a specific rate of flow. Requirements of a good distribution system. How the good distribution system should be. So in case of good distribution system, it should be capable of supplying water at consumer's tap at a reasonable pressure head. It should be capable of meeting the fire demand simultaneously. Suppose in a certain instance when water is supplied for a certain particular purpose and at the same time if fire demand or any fire accident occurs, then the system should be capable of supplying the fire demand simultaneously without compensating the water that has been supplied for other purposes. It should maintain the degree of purity. It should be such that it should not contaminate the water at the time of its transportation from the purification plant to the consumer's tap. It should be completely watertight. There should not be any leakages. Generally, leakage is supposed to be the thing which can contaminate the water and can hamper the quality that has been supplied and may even play with the health issues of the consumer in case of residential supply. So it should be completely watertight to avoid all such limitations or disadvantages. It should be easy to operate and maintain. Generally what happens is that particularly in developing countries, the water is not supplied for the 24 hours. Rather, they are supplied in limited time to a certain part of a city and accordingly the overall distribution takes place. So it should be easy to operate. It means that it can able to supply the water in a predefined or predetermined timing slot and at that time it should able to maintain the appropriate pressure head. At the time when one need to divert the supply for a certain purpose because of a certain reason like breakdown and because of which water need to be diverted from a certain direction to other, or it should suppose needs to be stopped for a certain purpose to avoid the wastage of a water that may take place in case of the leakage of the pipes, then it should easy to operate and maintain. Water should be easily available even during the breakdown period. It should be so laid that during repairs it does not cause the obstruction of traffic. Generally, pipes are laid along the roadside and in such case it should be so laid that during the repairs it does not cause major obstruction to the traffic. And the initial cost of the distribution system should be as low as possible. Let's now try to understand the methods of distribution. The method of distribution depends upon the topography of the area. How the area is, accordingly the method of distribution is determined. The method of distributions are divided under three heads like gravity system, pumping system, and combined gravity and pumping system. So let's try to understand these systems in brief. The gravity system. In the gravity system, the source of water which is so located with respect to the area of distribution that water is available with sufficient pressure at various points of area and no pumping is required. So in this case, the water is generally supplied only with the help of gravity. Now with the help of this figure, it can be easy to understand how this system is. Now in this system, generally the water treatment plant is located comparatively at higher elevation as compared to the point where the water needs to be supplied. So in such case, the water can run under the gravity, and because of this, the system is called as a gravity system. There are very less number of cases where we can provide such system when the water treatment plant is generally located at higher elevation as compared to the points where water needs to be supplied. Second is pumping system. In pumping system, water is pumped directly into the distribution system to achieve the required pressure. While such systems are generally not desirable, as only with the help of pump it is very difficult to maintain the appropriate things which are responsible for the water distribution. The figure explains how this pumping system can be, where the water from treatment plant is generally stored into a storage tanks which are located at very low elevation. They are more likely to be the service reservoirs, and then they are directly pumped into the pumping mains or pipes, and because of which the certain pressure is created and the water can be supplied to the areas which might be located at higher elevations or away from the actual pumping station. Next is combined gravity and pumping system. While this is the most common system adopted in most of the cases, well, you will find that the systems placed around us are the systems which are combined gravity and pumping system. As name itself suggests, it includes pumping as well as the gravity. These two forces are responsible for the actual distribution of water. The water purification works are generally located at the same level as the area of distribution, which is a very common case, and in such case generally water is pumped from the pumping station to the reservoirs which are located at a higher elevations, and they even are having a very high level where the water is generally stored. From that high elevation, water is been supplied to the consumer's tap or to the particular region under the effect of gravity. So this is what is happening in a combined gravity and pumping system, where we generally do pumping to supply the water from a treatment plant to higher elevated reservoirs, and from these higher elevated reservoirs water is generally been supplied under the effect of gravity to the consumer's tap. In order to obtain sufficient distribution pressure, filtered water is pumped and then they have been supplied. Next part is the pressure in a distribution main. So adequate pressure should be available in the distribution main at all points located, even at the remote places where water needs to be supplied. So the pressure depends on various things like the height to which water is required to be supplied. As this height increases, generally pressure available at the point got reduced. Second is the firefighting requirements, because generally in case of firefighting we need to supply water with very high pressure, because of which the fire can be controlled, and whether the supply is metered or not. Generally in case of metered supply, the pressure is more, while in case of non-metered supply, the pressure is kept low. Last is availability of the funds. According to that, the pipe sizes are to be fixed. The minimum pipe size used should be in a range of 100 to 150 millimeters. As per the recommendation, for the population up to 50,000, the pipe used should be at least of a diameter of 100 millimeter, while for the larger population, the pipe needs to be 150 millimeter or more in the diameter. Then the residual pressure. The Manual of Water Supply and Treatment prepared by the Ministry of Urban Development gives the following recommendations for the minimum residual pressure. This is the total pressure that one needs to be maintained in a distribution system. So for a single story building, if water has to be supplied, it should have the minimum 7 meter as a residual pressure. While for 2-storied buildings, it is 12 meter. And for 3-storied building it is 17 meters. So this much minimum residual pressure needs to be maintained by the system. Generally, the distribution systems are designed for the pressure around 22 meters or lesser. Distribution systems should not ordinarily be designed for a residual pressure exceeding 22 meters. The very high pressure may result in a failure of joints and leakage, and in case it might even result the major failure in terms of failure of pipes. The systems of water supply. There are two types of systems of water supply exist. One is continuous system and second is intermittent system. As name itself suggests, continuous system is a system in which water is available to the consumer for 24 hours a day. This kind of system is very rarely used in developing countries. While the intermittent system, which is a most popular system in a country like India, in which water is supplied to the consumers only during some fixed time of the day. Limitation of such system. There might be possibility that the water may not be available during the incidence of fire in case of intermittent system. It may even result unnecessary domestic storage in terms of making the water available during the non-supply period. A person may use to store the certain amount of water, and if water is made available in the next day, then the stored water may not be utilized and may be wasted in many cases, and is the one of the major limitation of the intermittent system. Third is pollution of water that may happen because of the intermittent system. Generally, in case of intermittent system, the water is available in different periods, which may result in a difference in a pressure in a distribution system because of the continuous stopping and making water available. This may sometimes suck the water through the joints, and along the case of failure of joints, in case of such incidents, the certain amount of water might be lost, and in case of no supply period, the pressure is generally reduced, which may suck the water from these joints, and along with this water, the surrounding soil may be entered into the distribution system and may contaminate the water. In such cases, even the sizes of pipes required are higher, because in a short time one should be able to supply the water which is sufficient enough for the whole day as such. And in such case, even the wastage from the common water taps is very common, as the water in common water taps may not be looked very continuously, and in such case even someone may unnecessarily kept water tap open in the time of not supply, and when the water is made supply, the wastage of water may take place. Then it even needs higher staff requirement, as one need to operate large number of valves to make water available at a certain time to a certain location or the certain part of a city. Next part is storage and distribution reservoirs. Reservoirs are nothing but the large water tanks which are used to store the water, and the major distribution takes place from these. Generally, the reservoirs are been categorized under two heads like storage and distribution reservoirs. The purpose of the storage reservoir is to store the water, while the distribution reservoirs are the reservoirs which are connected with the supply mains where the water is being supplied and made available at the consumer's tap. So even the storage reservoirs are sometimes called as a balancing reservoir. Well, the main storage reservoir which is been available at the water treatment plant is called main balancing reservoir or MBR. From there, water is either supplied to the small storage tanks from where they can be connected with the distribution reservoirs and water is distributed, or in major cases the MBR or main balancing reservoir is been connected with the number of distribution reservoirs from where water is been supplied to the consumer's tap. So these are required to store the treated water, particularly in case of intermittent system. Even the water storage is required even in a continuous supply system too. The distribution reservoirs provide service storage to meet the widely fluctuating demand often imposed on a distribution system. It also provides storage for firefighting and in case of emergencies. And as we are aware, these are mostly of an elevated type. The reservoir serves the following purpose. They absorb the variation in demand. In previous few sessions, we have learned that the demand of water is not continuous. Rather, the water is being used at different rates in a different part of a day, particularly in case of a residential needs. So, there must be the sufficient amount of supply made available when the demand is more. But water has been treated at a constant rate at water treatment plant. So this difference in the variation in demand and the actual water supply has been absorbed by the provisions of reservoirs. So they store the excess amount of water that has been treated in case of low demand or in case of no demand, while they make the water available when there is a high demand occurs, particularly in the morning and in the evening in case of residential needs. They make up the pump to run at a uniform rate because they are allowing water to pump at the rate at which it has been treated. View results in overall reduction in the size of pumps and treatment units, and it does make the distribution system economical. This serves as a storage for emergencies such as outbreak of fire, failure of pumps and failure of mains as such. Particularly in case of fire demand, the stored water can be utilized with efficiency to fight against fire and control it. Well, in few cases, suppose there is a failure of pumps and because of which water may not be at all be lifted, but still at higher elevation when it is available, it can be served to the society as such. And even in case of failure of mains or the pipes which are connecting the say storage reservoirs with the distribution reservoirs, if there is a failure or bursting of main takes place, still the water available in a distribution reservoir may serve the need of the society as such for the short duration. In that period, the actual maintenance of the system can be done. They maintain the desired pressure in the main constantly. Because of the storage of water at higher elevation, they are able to maintain the required pressure in the supplying main. So the storage or distribution reservoirs are generally of three types. One is surface reservoir, second is elevated reservoir, and third is standby. So this figure indicates the surface reservoir in which water is stored at the surface of an earth or the normal ground surface. They are not elevated, and water supplied to this might be pumped for the small society as such. Even in some cases the hand operated pumps are even used to lift the water. Well, this is the elevated reservoir. This is the most common type of reservoir we will find, and they are very common in the water supply systems, where the water has been stored at very high elevation, and then they can be pumped to this distribution reservoirs, and then water can be supplied to the society or to the consumers under the effect of gravity. Well, this figure indicates the standpipes. Standpipes are the very large circular water tanks, but they are located at the ground level, but their height is very high. Such kind of things are not common in a country like India, but they can be used with advantages, and they even are very common in a few parts of the world. Standpipes. The storage capacity of distribution reservoir is based on the following three requirements. So the storage capacity can be calculated adding the three things which are called as in balancing or equalizing release, the breakdown reserve, and the fire reserve. The balancing or equalizing reserve can be calculated by using the hydrograph or mass curve method. So we will learn these things in detail in next session, but it is the amount of release or reserve that should be there to absorb the variation in between the higher demand and lower supply, or lower demand and higher supply. So in such case, whatever the total space that must be made available is called balancing or equalizing reserve. Second part is breakdown reserve. Breakdown reserve is that part which must be been provided in case of breakdown of service, like failure of pumps or the leakage of the water mains which are used particularly to supply the water to the reservoir as such. So in such case, even certain small amount of water must be made available, so that during the repair of these breakdown services the water can be supplied. And third is the fire reserve. It can be calculated by various formulas. We already have seen these formulas in previous few sessions, and the most common is National Board of Fire Underwriters formula. We will try to understand these things in detail in next session. Last part of this is the layout of distribution network. Layout means how the pipes can be laid. So the distribution pipes are generally laid below the road pavements, and as such their layouts generally follow the layout of roads. The pipes are generally being laid along the roads, and accordingly the distribution network can be made possible. So according to that, the networks are classified under different heads or different types. These systems are the dead end systems, radial system, grid iron system, ring system, any one of which either single or in combination can be used at a particular place. So once again, it depends upon the locality to be served, how the road network is, and how the water needs to be supplied at the various parts of the city. So we'll try to understand these systems in brief. So in dead end system, it is suitable for old towns and cities having no definite pattern of a road. So this particular figure indicates the dead end system, in which the main pipe has been connected with a number of branches and sub mains. Sub main is a pipe which runs from a main pipe, while branches are the pipes which runs from the sub mains. So generally the water has been made available to the consumer's end by taking the supply from the branches and not from the mains or the sub mains. So such kind of system are used where there is no definite pattern of road available, and the pipe can run in any direction as per the needs. So it looks like the tree. So this system is even called as a tree system. It forms number of dead ends as shown in figure, and because of this there is a possibility of stagnation of water in many cases. This even needs the very high number of cutoff walls. The major advantages is that it is relatively cheap, while the determination of discharge and pressure is easier due to less number of walls. While the major disadvantage is the stagnation of water that may occur at the dead ends. So this stagnation even may result in the contamination in few cases. Next is the radial system. So in this system the whole area has been divided into different zones, and each zone is provided with one distribution reservoir. So from main, the sub-mains are running, which are connecting and making water available at these distribution reservoirs. So water is pumped to the distribution reservoirs, and from there it is made available to the consumer with the help of different sub-mains and branches. So the water is pumped and the supply pipes are laid radially ending towards the periphery. The major advantage is that it gives the very quick service, and in the proper designing its calculation is very easy. Next is gridiron system. It is suitable for cities with rectangular layouts where the water mains and branches are laid in rectangles. So in this the water is made available to the consumers, and with formation of gridirons or the square or rectangular parts because of the properly planned routes along which the pipes can be laid. The major advantages includes the water is kept in good circulation due to absence of dead ends. In case of breakdown, in some section water might be made available from some other direction as shown in figure, which is not possible in case of a dead end system. While the major disadvantage is that exact calculation of the sizes of pipe is not possible due to provision of walls on all branches, and in case of failure from a certain direction, if water has been made available from other direction, then it may result in a variation in total supply to be made as well as the pressure. Last is ring. The supply main is laid all along the peripheral roads, and sub-mains branch out from this main. So in this system generally the main pipe is covering the area to be served or a city from the periphery or the outside, and from outside the sub-mains are running towards the core part of the city or town to be served, and then they are emerging into number of sub-mains and branches, and water can be made available to the interior part from the peripheral part where the mains are running. This system also follows the gridiron system with the flow pattern similar in character that of dead end system. So the determination of the size of pipe is easy. The major advantage is that it can be supplied water in any at least two directions. So this is more helpful particularly in case of say failure or the breaking of the pipe. These are the references from where this material has been connected. So that's it for this session. Thank you for your patience learning, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you.